to another episode of Be Love TV. I am so excited for another week to come into your homes, come into your lives, and help you think about what it means not just to have love or share love, but what it means to be love. That's what we believe at Be Love. We believe that we embody love and unleash life. And right now we're living through some unprecedented times. I often say we're living through some perilous uncertainty. Our lives have been disrupted in some dramatic and even traumatic ways. Many of us are at home, and our freedom has been limited. Our sense of mobility has been deeply impaired. And many of you all are looking for answers, trying to make meaning out of this time. And I'm grateful today. We have a wonderful conversation partner, Erica Bell, who's an educator in Maryland, who is going to be with us today. So Erica, welcome to Be Love TV. Excited to have you today.
I'm happy to be here. Thank you for the opportunity.
For sure. So question I ask every guest is, tell us what makes you come alive.
What makes me come alive is just being my true self, which is creative, writing. I love like helping people, and just basically I'm in this transition of just trying to reach the full potential of what God wants me to be and who He wants me to be. And that's just what makes me come alive, helping people and helping children and just being myself and being free.
I love it. How long have you been an educator?
I have been in the educational realm for, my son is 10, about 10 years.
Okay.
I started as a substitute when I graduated, then I was a paraprofessional, then I went back for my master's, and then I've been teaching for 7 years.
Got it. So you've taught in New Jersey, Georgia, and now you're teaching in Maryland, right?
Yes.
So talk to us a little bit about that journey from Jersey to the Deep South to Maryland.
It was different. I felt like up north in New Jersey we were a lot more innovative and progressive as far as education wise.
Okay.
And then when I went to Georgia, they were a little bit behind in some of the things that we were learning, and especially like the professional development, as in like the whole teacher and becoming that 21st century learner for our students. And now that I'm back sort of like up north, I feel that like Maryland, it's a really good education system here, and I don't really see a difference too much.
So you don't see a major difference between Maryland and New Jersey?
Yeah, not too much, no.
But there is a difference between what's happening in the north and what's happening in the south.
Yes, and I just feel, I guess I can say it's just a little, it's not, the South wasn't very, what is the word? It was not a very conducive place for me, for an educator wanting to grow and just foster. It was a little bit punitive, I'll be honest.
Really?
Yes.
And so it was punitive towards all teachers, or just teachers who were thinking out of the box, trying to differentiate their teaching patterns?
Yeah, I could say that teacher that was outside the box. And for me, my niche is like special education, preferably students with autism. And I think outside the box. Gotcha. I'm one of those total inclusive type teachers where I don't feel that a special ed student, I feel that a special needs student can do just about anything or be involved in any aspect of the whole education realm. Sure. They don't need to just be boxed. And I feel that way with all students. So it was just a little different for me, but it had its benefits. I did meet a lot of nice people that helped me grow, but I just wanted to get back up north.
Understood. Yeah. So that kind of punitive approach to the teachers, particularly creative teachers who are really trying to reshape the paradigm. What do you think how do you think that affected or impacted the students' learning?
I feel that it impacted the students' learning tremendously because you're stifling the person who's like the conduit for their education. So, if you're not letting that individual grow and be who they are, then it kind of, you feel imprisoned, you feel stifled. Wow. So you kind of just have to walk in that mold that they want you to walk in. And for me, it wasn't beneficial. I felt like because I wasn't being who I could be as an educator, definitely just affected my students. because
So
I'm basically doing what you're telling me from a up top approach, what's going to work, but you're not in here with me, with
mm,
my students who I have a rapport with, I have a relationship with, and I know the ins and outs of them.
that makes sense. So everybody's home right now,
Yeah.
and you guys are home through the end of the year, or are they saying there's a possibility you're back in the classroom for the year's out in Maryland?
They gave us till April 24th, but we're kind of assuming that it's probably going to be for the end of the year.
That's what you all guys are.
Yeah, just with, as the COVID-19 continues to increase,
Sure.
it's not really plateauing or decreasing. So the governor hasn't given a word yet, but that's what we're assuming. And we're preparing for that at my school.
So you're teaching online. You're doing online instruction, pre-recorded or real time.
We're doing some pre-recorded,
Okay.
some real time. We're going to do asynchronous and synchronous learning. So
Hmm.
like some with the groups and some we don't really do one-on-one, but with the parent in the room. And like we're trying to get all the students, like if we can do a Zoom with majority of our students, do some small group learning at least twice throughout the week, as well as giving the students some other resources like on the computer, some games, some things like that to do as well.
So this type of learning requires students to have internet access, but also access to particular forms of technology. And we know that because of the wealth gap, because of the poverty that exists
Yeah.
all over our country, that there are many Black and brown students, and of course some white students, who just don't have access to those resources. How has your school district sort of met that challenge?
One thing about my school district where I'm at, it has a majority poverty. This is a Title I school. I do commend them. What we did was advisory surveys where we reached out to literally every family in our building, and we asked them, do you have internet? What kind of devices do you have? Do you have phones? Do you have tablets? Do you have computers? And how can we bridge that gap? How can we help you so that each learner, regardless of their socioeconomic background or their disability, has the opportunity to learn during this time? And we're trying to just meet the needs. But as you know, with education, we don't really have all the money in the world, but a lot of people are just coming together and trying to make things happen.
Sure. Now, have there been provisions made? Because I know some states are working with Comcast to make sure households with students have some type of access to the internet. Is it anything like that? Like discounted internet, free internet, technology sharing. Is there any of that happening in here?
Yes, Comcast is giving like free internet service. The electric company isn't cutting anybody off. They're like trying to make arrangements. We're giving out Chromebooks if we have extra ones. It's just yeah, it's kind of like a wraparound. It's a big collaboration between like community, home, and the educational system.
So now you're at home and you're teaching. So you've become a 24-hour teacher, 24-hour parent to some extent, right? Chances are you were probably overworking as a teacher anyway. That's
Yeah.
what I've learned. Black female teachers often do. They do work pretty hard, don't know how to clock out. How do you really balance being at home, working and parenting all day?
It's like flying the plane. We're building the plane as we're flying, so to speak. So I'm just, I'm also building on that community of other women, other Black women who are kind of in my same shoes, or even mothers who have no educational background who are now teaching and still having to work, whether they're laid off or, we gotta cook, we gotta clean. It's a lot. So I'm just taking it one day at a time. I have to pray. I have to make that time in the morning or whenever it is where I just get myself right with God. I kind of breathe. I try to exercise. And it's really nothing to it but to do it because my kids need me. My kids at school and my children at home.
Mm.
I'm raising Black boys right now, and it's imperative that they get their education. And I guess I'll elaborate just on a little bit of how I deal with it, because also learning can be anywhere.
Sure.
You know, learning can be anything. We also have to think outside the box, and that's what I'm doing. You know, teaching my boys just functional things, how to cook, how to, you know, maybe do some other things, as well as doing their academics. But learning is happening all around us. So if we kind of keep that approach, it'll get there. And if they wake up at 10 o'clock, who says we can't have school at 12, you know? Or if I'm helping my students, my kids at home, you know, we'll do something a little later. So just,
So you're having to do your normal teaching load, and now you're also having to assist in the obviously you helped with homework in the past, but now you're having
yes,
to assist with the instructional work, the day-to-day instructional work of your sons too, right?
yes.
Like, how do you balance that? Like teaching your, like doing your instructional work, and then being the parent at the same time. Like, are you on a schedule? How'd you develop this schedule?
Um, my mom helps me a lot because she's an educator too. So we kind of had a schedule when this all first started. You know, it was a liberal schedule, but still structured, because I feel, you know, just my style of parenting, structure works, you know, especially with my boys, and they bring up all types of ADHD, whatever. But they need structure, they need balance. So yes, have a schedule, but also know that, you know, I may be on the phone with another student a little bit longer, but they're just detailed. They get up, they eat, you know, they get there, they do their hygiene, which we have more time to delve into that because I'm not rushing out the door.
Mhm.
And they know when mommy's working, she's working. But the good thing is I teach the same grade level that my one of my sons is in.
Oh wow! And what
So
grade is that?
fourth grade,
Fourth grade. Uh-huh.
yes. And then I have a first grader and then a 2-year-old. But
Now, does your son go to your school?
yes, they go to my school.
Okay. So how is it? So you have a different level, you have a different perspective than many parents will have, because you don't just know your son's teachers, but you are colleagues with your son's
Yeah,
teachers.
yeah.
So how does that dynamic work in terms of, like, obviously you trust your colleagues, uh, but all teachers are not created equal. And every teacher is not going to put in the type of effort to go above to accommodate for the different learning styles that students are coming with, the economic backgrounds that students are coming with that impact how one is able to get through the work throughout the day. What is your advice for parents who don't have that kind of insight you have into your child's teachers?
My advice is now is your chance to learn. Like, try to look at it as the glass half full instead of half empty. Because I have a child who my teacher, even though I'm right down the hallway, she calls me all the time. My little Kobe, he's doing this, he's doing that. You know, I'm one of those parents who I know my kids, so I'm like, yep, you got it. Today's a little off, but I'm able to actually learn some things about little Kobe too. I'm like, oh, so I do see his focus and, you know, just some things. So I think for other parents, now's your opportunity to be the teacher and kind of learn your child in another facet, if that makes sense. Because
So,
I know as educators, I do have those parents, hey, my son, and you're like, oh, okay, now you get to see what everybody else has been talking about. And you also get to see the good qualities in your child, or just things that, like, you know, I'm learning that my son has a propensity for science and loves cooking. I would have never really gotten that chance to see him in that light, and he's like so like computer savvy.
mhm.
And I just, you know, because I'm mom and I'm rushing and I'm, you know, I'm cooking. But now I've seen, you know, him in a total different light, and we've kind of grown. So just look at it as a perspective for you to learn your child as well. You're now the teacher, and you can teach them in any style you want and actually get to know the learner, the student. So,
What are some of the benefits of students being at home, the home becoming their classroom?
I think one of the benefits is just, you know, I feel like in America we're always rushing. I know that. Like in my school, the kids start at 7:25, and it's a charter school, so they don't get out until like 3 o'clock, 3:30. It's such a long day. It's such a rigorous day, which is great. But I just think kind of like it gives us a chance to slow down,
Mm.
and those kids that are, because we're always teaching for the test, and that's just America too. Now kids actually can take time to learn those multiplication facts, to really learn this skill and these skills. We're just not like pushing them because we have this state test or they got to get to the next grade. So they can kind of go at their own pace,
Mm-hmm.
which I like as well. So
Now, there's always a lot of conversation around school discipline as it relates to Black kids, particularly Black girls. We often hear about there's this assumption that Black boys are penalized a little more than Black girls, but the data really shows that Black girls are suspended, particularly dark-skinned Black girls, are suspended at the highest rates of any other student. Does this opportunity of being home sort of guard them from being targets, from being seen as problems, being framed and labeled as problems? Is there something to this being at home that also helps the kids from the disciplinary aspect of school?
I'm happy. That's a very good question. It's very insightful. I would have to say, given that the environment is a positive environment, that these Black babies are in, or these our Black daughters are in, I would say yes. It gives them a chance to not have to fight the world so
Mm,
much,
mm,
and that's what being a Black woman, and especially a darker skinned woman, we are Black sometimes is seen as aggressive, as you're constantly wearing a target, which is the color of your skin. So I think this time gives the time for the Black woman, the Black girl, to be at peace, to take off all of the bravado, and I gotta get smart with this teacher, I gotta deal with the teacher that doesn't like me, I gotta deal with the kids that are bullying me, and I gotta walk to school and deal with this, and kind of just get a moment to just breathe,
yeah,
and
yeah.
I would have to agree that even for our Black boys, to kind of build their confidence, because if you're always wrong and getting in trouble, it doesn't do too much for you.
Yeah, yeah. So, parent, teacher, you're an educator and you're a parent. What do you think parents not understand? What don't parents understand about your job, about what you do on a daily basis? That if they did understand it, you think the partnership would be stronger.
I think a lot of parents don't understand that we don't know it all as teachers, but they don't really understand that we care about our children. And for me, I like to consider myself an urban educator. Um, would I like to go to the suburbs? No. My entire career has been with socioeconomic deprived, like populations, the poorest of the poor. And I'm here because I love it. I'm here because I love these kids and I believe in cultivating the Black future. Like I believe in our children, that yes, they may not have this, they may not have that, but we're here for them. And I feel like if parents kind of will see us as partners and that we're here, then we can collaborate to do the best that we can do for these children, which will ultimately, improve Black America. It takes a village, and I don't want to sound cliche, but it really does. There's things that I didn't know about my child, and here I am, teacher and mother, but I learned from his teacher
Mm,
that really gave me insight, who ultimately is going to help my young Black boy who's gone through some things and trauma, whatever it may be, but for him to be his best self. And I just think they need to just look at us like that, and don't look that we're like pointing like we're punitive. Not all of us are like that. We're in it. We're not in it for the money. A lot of us, we're struggling just like the next person. We bring home a lot of work.
hmm
If you would add up the amount of hours to the salary and to all of the things that a good teacher, a teacher that loves what they do, it doesn't equal out. Like it doesn't equal. It doesn't really, I'm not saying make sense unless you love what you do. unless you believe wholeheartedly in your mission and your purpose for being a teacher.
Now, last word. I want to invert the question. What don't right now parents have an unusual burden on them. Many of them aren't working, but those that are working are doing this balancing act that you're doing. And so, what don't teachers understand about parents, about the home life, that they should understand that would help in their engagement, in their instructional outcomes and outputs?
I think a lot of teachers, we kind of can be judgmental.
Mm.
A lot of teachers, and just in my different places in life, some teachers don't actually know, like they can't separate the method from the madness, if it's so to speak. You see, little Johnny acting up and you just think his mother doesn't care, but you really don't know that mom is working 2 to 3 jobs and she's trying and she does care. I think if us teachers kind of just show a little bit more empathy and be a little bit more supportive. And I'm not saying that and like give a crutch,
Yeah.
but I have worked with some colleagues who just, their approach is, I'm just like, why are you doing this? And just, we need the parents as much as the parents need us. And if we look at it as teamwork, and if we can kind of motivate and encourage that parent, that is only going to benefit the student. So I think we just need to be a little bit more understanding, empathetic, and we need the parents. We need them all the time, but even more so now. Yeah. Because there's going to be a huge gap when this pandemic is over, and I'm speaking that into existence, that it's going to be over. And we need the parents to try to, we need them. Yeah. So when school starts again, that these kids have gotten as much as they could get from home. And I say that as well as not going on and on, just socially and emotionally, because our children deal with so much trauma and so many other things that I feel like if we could just heal them socially and emotionally, they'll soar academically. So
what are you looking forward to when this is over?
I'm looking forward to really going at it full force. I'm not going to lie to you. Like you said, I'm a mother and I'm a teacher and I work in a very rigorous school because the expectation is very high and I love it. I believe in their mission, but it's hard. Yeah. I'm getting to work at 7 o'clock and I'm leaving at 5. And raising children. I was a little bit burnt out, but I feel like God kind of gave me this opportunity to reset, to rejuvenate, to really reevaluate things, to tap into some other things I want to do, and to really realize like this is really what my purpose is. Part of my purpose, because I have other purposes. But and I'm just ready to go at it full force because special educators get burnt out, and I really felt like I was burned out. I would have just went and worked at somewhere else. But so I'm excited, and I really miss my students. I miss giving back, and I'm just ready when the time is right.
Good. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Appreciate that. Thank you so much, Erica, for spending this time with us. Be Love Nation, I want you to share this, like this, tweet this, email this, however you can get it to people. I want you to do that. We need to hear the wisdom that Erica gave us today to help all of us think about how we balance this space at home and parenting, but also figure out how we can be great co-educators for our children, for our young people. So I can't wait until you let us back into your lives again next week. And so until then and beyond, be loved. Peace.
Bye-bye.